So the situation in Bangladesh continues to be volatile. Things are not looking good. The police is slowly resuming duties, but there are still about 40 police stations which the police haven't taken charge of. The Home Minister had to actually come out and warn, and he's given a deadline to the mobs and the protesters who took the police weapons and said return them, give them in by August 19th, otherwise we'll have to take action against you. Why are things the way they are now that even Sheikh Hasina is gone? Why aren't things coming back to normal? They have the government that they wanted. To talk about that, how the situation in Bangladesh is evolving, I'm joined by former Indian Ambassador, High Commissioner to Bangladesh, Veena Sikri. Ambassador Sikri, very good to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Madam Sikri, why aren't things, once Sheikh Hasina left, the Awami League government fell, the students against discrimination had their say. They got Muhammad Yunus there. They were part of the formation of the new dispensation. The army is listening to them. Their government is listening to them. Then why does the Home Affairs Advisor have to come and warn them and they still don't listen?
Yes, actually, I think there is perhaps a different way of looking things that we have to take into account. Everybody is calling it, the success of the students against discrimination movement, and the students have got what they wanted. But was it the students' movement that has caused this change of power in Bangladesh?
Okay.
I mean, that's the question, because right up till 15th of July, the movement was very peaceful, and the students and former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government, they were on the same wavelength. In fact, it is Sheikh Hasina's government who had abolished the quota and had actually met the demand of the students.
True.
And it's only after 15 July, when there was this misunderstanding about the use of the term Radhakars, and then the clash between the Chhatra League of the Awami League and the students, then the Islamists, the Jamaat-e-Islami, and their student wing, the Islami Chhatra Shibir, they got into the act and they took full control of the entire situation. And I think since then, it has really been the Islamists, the Jamaat-e-Islami and the other like-minded people, supported by others, supported by outside forces, supported by external forces, they have actually got full control of the government. And I say it for 2 or 3 specific reasons. If you see that on 5th of August, when Sheikh Hasina was asked to leave the country and she left the country, at that time, there was a huge upsurge of violence of 3 kinds. Now, first of all, they started breaking down the statues of Sheikh Mujib, who was the father of the nation, even statues of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. All the places associated with the liberation war were being desecrated. Today, of course, we have seen that statue of the moment of surrender.
In fact, Ambassador Sikri, today also, the name of the expressway, which is called the Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib Expressway, that board was taken off. I want to explore that at length, but before we come to that point, you say 2 things. You say, was it really a students' movement, just a students' movement? You're hinting that there was Jamaat and BNP, student wings active, and it was being politically fueled. And you're also saying that there were outside forces at play. So let's say if the Jamaat and BNP were there, they were, for student wings were there, they've ousted Sheikh Hasina. They had a say in deciding who is in the interim government. If the outside forces were indeed involved, they've got a dispensation to their liking and done away. So my question is that why isn't it subsiding?
No, because the Islamists, they want something else. It is not that they just want right now a government of their own, but it's a change in the entire approach. When I'm speaking about destruction of everything related to the liberation war of 1971, it means they want to negate the values that liberation war stood for. Look at the attack on the Hindu community, on the religious minorities. This is exactly what happened in 1971. At that time, these were the targets. The Awami League was the target, and the religious minorities were the targets. And these are the targets here again now. There is talk not of having elections anytime soon. And there's a talk instead of changing the constitution of Bangladesh. So it is those values of democracy and secularism which seem to be under maximum threat right now. And we've seen how the Hindu communities, the religious minorities, they've really suffered. There have been burnings and lootings and rapes and killings exactly as there was in 1971. But I must say that the religious minorities have started to fight back. There was a huge demonstration by them in Dhaka on Saturday, and demonstrations even on Sunday in UK, in USA, and in Canada. And they're saying, look, we are...
What would be the numbers of the religious minority? I think the Hindus of Bangladesh would be about 1 crore.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
More than that, because it's 170 million to 180 million total population, and the Hindu minority is about 8%.
8%.
So you can, yeah.
But that is a sizable percentage. If you're saying that sort of change is taking place in the country where the Islamists want to come in and, you know, change the constitution and change the very character of the nation, then that country has a big problem on its hands, and by extension, countries who are neighbors, India being the closest one, has a bigger problem on its hands again.
Yes, yes, India is very worried about this, and as you know, that we have made a 200-meter, curfew area around the border, 4,000 kilometers, and we have closed all visa facilities because the Indian assets were attacked immediately. The Indian Cultural Center was burned to the ground. The Indian restaurant Santoor was burned to the ground, and our people had to come back because there was such an atmosphere of insecurity.
Okay.
And the anti-Indian campaign is being waged mercilessly in Bangladesh.
Okay.
And this is it. They want to actually, these are the Islamists, they want to ruin the relationship between India and Bangladesh. We have ourselves said that we are very happy to talk to the new government, and we have seen some statements by various advisors in the government, including the Foreign Affairs Advisor Tawheed Hussain. He's made all kinds of contradictory statements. At one time he says, oh, we can have good relations despite Sheikh Hasina being there. At the other time he says, well, the development of relations have never benefited the people of Bangladesh. And this huge problem that we are seeing, but we are still willing to see any sincere feeling from the government there that they want to develop the relationship. Muhammad Yunus himself, Professor Muhammad Yunus, has said many times, this is a second liberation, a second independence. So this is worried about what this means. And this is what we have to see very carefully. And of course, we are fully prepared to talk to the new government.
Okay. For somebody sitting here in India, Ambassador Sikri, you've served there as our High Commissioner. Why would they, take off the boards of Bangabandhu, hit his statue? He was the one who gave them their Bengali nation. They may be Islamists. It is a Muslim majority country, but their identity, when they broke away from Pakistan as East Pakistan and became Bangladesh, they asserted the Bengali identity, and the Sheikh gave them the Bengali nation. Why attack the father of the nation?
Well, maybe they, this clash between the Bengali identity and the Islamic identity, this has been a kind of a pendulum swinging always one way or the other in Bangladesh. Now, at this moment, it seems to have swung strongly and entirely in favor of an Islamic identity. And if we see that it is Pakistan and other countries who are behind this, then of course they want to negate their Bengali identity altogether. And this has been a problem within Bangladesh in recent years, that the radicalization, the increase of Islamic groups has grown enormously. If you see the composition of the interim government, if you see that composition, well, they kept saying that there'll be no political parties, they're all technocrats, but there is one person who represents the political party, that is Khalid Hussain, who is from the Islami Andolan Bangladesh. He is head of the Hifazat-e-Islam, which is the organization which prevented Sheikh Hasina from adopting a women's development policy, a pro-women policy. And although Sheikh Hasina tried to make up with them and have good relations with Hifazat-e-Islam, it is the same Hifazat-e-Islam who organized riots and killings and anti-Indian movements when our Prime Minister Modi was there in 2021 during the Golden Jubilee of the Liberation War. So, there are these forces in Bangladesh, and at the moment, they are asserting themselves very strongly. And that is why the memory of the leaders of the Liberation War being wiped out, the place in Meherpur, Mujibnagar, right next to the Indian border, where the proclamation of independence took place, that has been, desecrated. And even Shilpakala Academy centers, cultural arts and craft centers, those have met with tremendous problem. But we have seen, all on the other hand, that in the last 2 days, the Awami Leaguers got together in Gopalganj district in very large
Right.
numbers. So it is a clash that is still there. It has not, come to any kind, and that is why we've seen with the policemen. Some have come back to duty respecting the call, others have not. But this question of the students becoming policemen, that's all
True.
romanticizing the issue. Wearing a teddy bear jacket and a small girl
Yeah.
of 6 years standing on the street. This is not really, something that you can say that students are
True.
running the country. I think that the effort to present it as though it is entirely a students against
Movement, yes.
discrimination, I don't know. A student has been made the minister for IT. Now he's a student. He should
Yeah.
be in university finishing his or her degree.
Right.
But not the minister for IT. So I mean,
True,
it's
true.
very difficult to consider all of this.
Yes, it is indeed a very difficult situation. The situation remains precarious. I guess the questions that haunted the subcontinent 80 years back, almost 80 years back, have come back to haunt or continue to haunt in varying, at varying levels the subcontinent. It's not just Bangladesh. We have what used to be West Pakistan also grappling with similar questions. Well, we'll have to see where the situation goes. But Ambassador Veena Sikri, thank you very much for being on the show and sharing your insights with us. Thank you.